Story 2 of Kitty's Picnic and Other Stories by Anonymous. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Tahereh Lopez. Story 2. Ellen's Letter. "You must be sure to write it all down, Jessie," said Ellen, looking over her sister's shoulder. "You must tell how naughty Bob was, and how he threw your doll on the fire, and all the wax melted, and he broke the doll's arms and legs so that I have to sew them all over to keep the bran from running out." "Yes, and how he trampled on our gardens and broke down my rose bush with all my pinks. I don't think I shall have room for all the things there are to tell Mamma about him. There never was such a naughty boy. And when he gets in one of his tempers, he does not seem to know what he is doing." And Ellen leaned down on the table and went on writing. Just then the door opened, and Bob himself came in. He was a fat, rosy little boy, and he did not look very fierce now. Indeed, he looked quite meek and gentle. He came up to his sisters and said, "Bob is sorry he won't spoil dolls and gardens again." "Ah, it's too late now, Bob," said Ellen. "You have spoiled everything, and I'm telling Mamma about it in my letter, so she won't bring you to the baker's cart and the whip that you wanted." "You are a very naughty boy, Bob," said Jessie, "and I'm not going to play with you again." Bob went very red. "Take care, he's going into a temper again," said Ellen, as Bob made a snatch at the letter she was writing. She held it out of his reach, and then he gave a loud scream and began crying with all his might. I'll go to nurse," he cried, rushing out of the room, shouting as loud as he could. "He is the worst boy that ever lived," said Jessie. "Now we'll get on with the letter," said Ellen. But just then they heard another scream, which was not Bob, and then a bumping noise on the stairs. "He's fallen down the stairs. Perhaps he's killed," said Jessie, turning pale, and the two girls ran to see what was the matter. Yes, Bob, in his passion, did not see where he was going, and he slipped and fell from the top of the stairs to the bottom. "Oh, nurse, is he much hurt?" cried Ellen, for nurse and the rest of the servants were there. It was a long time before Bob came to himself. The doctor was sent for, and he found that Bob's arm was broken, and poor Bob had to suffer a great deal of pain in having it set. "Poor Bob," said Ellen to Jessie. "We won't send our letter to Mamma." "No," said Jessie. "It would be a great trouble to Mamma to find poor Bob so ill. We will not give her any more trouble." And she tore up the letter. But another letter was written to Mamma to tell her what had happened, and she came at once. Bob was lying quite still, muttering something to himself, but only loud enough for Ellen and Jessie to hear the word "naughty, naughty." "But we did not think you would fall down the stairs, Bob," said Jessie. Bob looked up at Jessie and said, "No, no, naughty Bob, not naughty Jessie." End of Story 2. Recording by Tahereh Lopez.